Hello there, you're watching the Handshake here on New Vision TV. My name is Lynn Komjisha. The East African community is set to fund regional private sector projects. I have with me Paul Busharizi. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What does this mean? East African community to fund regional private sector projects, and then it says if it succeeds in mobilizing resources. Don't they have a budget?
Well, they have a budget, but the budget also has to come from the member states. So if the member states are not contributing, you're in trouble. Yeah, but there are certain projects.
Yeah, exactly. What projects are they looking at?
There are certain projects. I imagine what they're talking about is there are certain projects that are essentially regional projects.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, power generation for Uganda. We are going to supply, of course, across the border to Rwanda and northern Tanzania, maybe even western Kenya, and southern Sudan and eastern Congo. How do you, because in Uganda can't say, okay, our line, we have stopped it here, you guys sort yourselves out. There has to be some agreement across which these lines go across. And I mean, it's obvious. It's all very nice to say that you have a big market, but is this market connected by road, by rail, by power, by telephone, and all that kind of thing, as a way to support the private sector? So I imagine the East African community is maybe coming to the realization that we actually need to more than just opening borders, really connect these markets together. And those regional projects are...
They also mentioned that they're going to, get these resources from the African Development Bank, which has shifted its focus to very important, sectors that that have big direct impact on people. Areas like agriculture. I don't know. Are they just? I thought the East African community would be looking at bigger projects, infrastructure, blah blah blah. Are they also shifting focus? Well,
imagine the African Development Bank. I imagine, as you say, is going to also be concerned only with big projects. So it's not going to finance, for example, a 100-acre farm or anything like that. But I can imagine what would happen is that, so for example, in Uganda, we say our milk industry is really good.
Yes.
It's really thing. How can we support like the processors of milk, or even the whole value chain from production to processing? How can we support them? Does Uganda need better breeds of cattle? How can we help with the research in that? Maybe set up a research institute that goes specifically, or support whatever research institutes, that kind of thing. How can we scale up production? That's how I imagine the African Development Bank would be thinking. And goes back to what I was saying, that look, it's all very nice to say that you're a big market, but are you connected? Can your milk in Rwampara be drunk in Mombasa? Can it get there? Is there a road? Can we process it and get it there by rail, by train? I think what is clearly becoming evident, not that becoming evident, but we know it all from theory, development theory, and what is that you have to what was I saying? That there's an interconnectivity between things. It's all very nice if you have your 1,000 cows, 4,000 cows in Rwampara, but can you get the products to market? And that requires more than you can personally do. You have to lay the roads. We have to make sure telecommunication is fine. We have to make sure power is there so that you can cool your things. That whole interconnectivity is where now big people like the African Development Bank come in.
So
So the East African community's problem is to create the environment that these things can be carried out in. I can have my $1 billion, but your laws in Uganda just don't allow me to put $1 billion in this economy. I go away.
But are they creating that environment?
Well, I imagine there will be consultation and try to harmonize laws and all that kind of thing. I'm just thinking that would be necessary.
Yes.
Also have coherent plans across the region. Note that if Uganda and Tanzania are doing the pipeline, Uganda's budget is starting this year, and Tanzania has not even thought of it for the next 3 years. So if we get to the border, there's no connecting pipeline. The whole synchronization of our things, where the East African community, can you call it at the secretariat level, at the parliament level, would be pushing.
What does their budget do?
Their budget. Well, their budget, well, it finances them. Again, they are, they are MPs. And there's a secretariat in Arusha. It's a lot, again, you know, they try to do some lobbying and stuff like that. But yeah, look.
Is this move really something that they can work on?
Look, it's good that the intention is there.
Yes.
It's like, you know, you're in P1 and you say, I want to go to university one day. You've got 14 years or so, you've got 14 years to go, but the intention is there. So the intention has been set. Now it's about us all mobilizing as countries our resources to push the agenda. Have faith.
You know, they say interesting things, they push for interesting things, but then nothing comes out of it.
No, things come out. It's just that maybe their communication is poor, and when something they've implemented happens, they don't call press conferences and all that kind of business.
I think so.
But things happen. Things are happening. I mean, the East African communities. Everyone is coming to study how the East African community works, from South Africa, West Africa.
Yet the ones inside are not appreciating it.
Yes, you know how prophets in their own land, they're never appreciated. So it's the same.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.